And welcome back to another podcast. Today we're going to be going to adoration. I'm going to be talking to you guys about what to do in adoration and how to even get started with adoration. So feel free to join. So we're back here, ladies and gentlemen. It is a very humid day here in Pennsylvania, Ohio, or Toledo. We're right now heading down to our local church. It's about, I would say, maybe I'm about to say 3-4 miles away. I'm doing this on bike because there ain't no way I'm walking down there. I probably will eventually. This is my first kind of pilgrimage, for me at least. If you don't know what a pilgrimage is, it's basically I think it can be multiple terms, but in a Catholic term at least, it is where people or a person go to a religious site or a religious place. So I know a couple weeks ago, some people in our diocese from our church that I'm going to today went down to the cathedral. It was a 9-mile walk. They had to walk and they said a rosary on the way there. I didn't bring my rosary. I have some other stuff to be planned there, but I probably will. You can hear a lot of sirens and stuff, or a lot of cars going by because we are right next to the road. For most of the journey, you will be hearing this, so get used to it. So yeah, I'm trying to do adoration as much as possible because it's. I'm sorry, guys. It's pretty loud. Well, there you go, guys. You guys just heard the loudest sound. We'll go and pass that firehouse. So yeah, it's something that we should all be doing as Catholics or Christians. We should all be trying to go to adoration once a week. I've been wanting to go to penance. I want to do that this weekend on Saturday. They have it from 3 to 4. I haven't been out there since the school year, so I really wanted to go there because it's always great to go to Sacrament of Penance, and you don't get to do that very much. Trucks going by here. So yeah, this is our. I'm probably working on a podcast. What I'm going to be doing for my podcast, I'm doing I did finish John a couple of days ago, the Gospel of John. I'm doing a summary as well as a timeline on the Gospel of John. So I am working on that. Oh, yeah. Okay, there we are. We are off now, and we're going straight for probably about 2 miles. So yeah, what do you do in adoration? What are some things you can do, and how do you kind of get started with adoration? So let me just say adoration again, a beautiful gift, and it's really an hour every week, especially in the summer when you don't have a lot going on. Sometimes going to adoration once a week is not going to kill you. I know some churches have them all week. Some churches have them the first Friday of every month, and then on Wednesday. Now sometimes my religion teacher takes us to the church every other Wednesday. Usually, we go to adoration, or on some Wednesdays, which only go for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It's kind of disappointing because most of the times I want to spend more time with Jesus, especially now when my relationship's been growing and it's been on an incline most of the time. But yeah. We'll just be going past some people here and just stop talking. Actually, I probably will talk. That's one of the things I want to do before we get into the adoration topic, is if we can hit 100 subscribers before school starts, I will personally invite somebody on the podcast that isn't really big on the faith. I'll find somebody, if I can. If I don't, I'll redeem myself, and I will do a podcast with them. We'll be asking questions, and if they don't really believe the faith, then I will be kind of almost debating a friendly debate on Catholicism, because a lot of people are falling out of all faiths because of just the things that happen to people in their lives. Like, one of their friends dies or one of the family members dies, they just say that, okay, that God caused this. And in reality, he really didn't. The devil did, sin did, but Jesus died for them. So anyways, let's go back on the adoration topic. Adoration. What is adoration? Adoration is a series of hours. I know in my church it goes from 7:15 to 5 o'clock. So adoration is where the Eucharist is present for that whole period of day. It is in the monstrance, which is basically a holy holder for the Eucharist, if you will. And somebody always has to be present with it, preferably 2 people, but always one person has to be. I didn't sign up. I think I should sign up just so I have to go. But there's usually, even if you don't sign up for the hour, there's usually always somebody in there. But in the summer, there's probably not as much. I've not been there yet this summer, but since it's always July, this is kind of prime hotspot time for people to be going to doing their vacations and stuff. But yeah, once we get back in August, people will, those vacations will kind of stop until you get back in the springtime. Now, what to do in adoration? The first thing that you should always do when you get to adoration is you should always, first off, say hello to Jesus. Saying hello to Jesus is the first and most important part of the adoration. Saying goodbye, hello to Jesus, because he called you there. You give him thanks for calling you there. Give him thanks for waking you up this morning. Giving you thanks for restful sleep, right? Giving him thanks for everything that is done for you. So you need to prostrate, which is what Abraham did in the Bible. He basically, when you lay yourself on the ground, it's what the Muslims say that Jesus did because Jesus was a Muslim. In theory, every single saint has basically done this. I haven't. I want to start doing it because it's a sign of full respect and full attention on Jesus. Now, what do you do when you actually get in the penance part? What do you do when you're at penance, in that middle time before you leave? A couple things you do. If you have a holy book that you have to read, if you have the Bible, read that. If you have the rosary, pray that. If you have a set of prayers that you like to pray those. You can also show gratitude. List the things that you were grateful for on a piece of paper. And just say thank you for all these things. One by one, say thank you for these things and why. Why are you thankful? And just show your expression of gratitude to Jesus. Another thing you could do, this is probably one of Jesus' favorite things for us to do, is to intercede for others. Interceding for others is what Jesus wants to do. He wants us to pray for our enemies, to pray for people, to forgive, to pray for people to find the light of himself. So always want to be praying for somebody you have in your heart who's either struggling with the faith, struggling emotionally, struggling physically, if they have a cancer or something. Always be praying for somebody or an intention for that person during adoration. You can also, I know some of the monks do this, and some of the nuns as well. I think most priests do this as well. They just sit there in silence. I think one of the saints said that we have 2 ears to listen and only one mouth to talk. So in that theory, we should only listen twice as much as we do talking. So you should always be almost listening. So talk a little bit and listen. Talk a little bit and then listen. Do that like a minute of talking and 3 minutes of listening or something like that. You could be talking, but then always leave time for Jesus to talk to you, because he's always reaching out to talk to us. That's the point of prayer. The point of prayer is for him to talk to us. Let me think. Another thing you could do is you should probably be kneeling most of the time. But if kneeling starts to hurt you, and it starts to hurt, you should probably stop kneeling, because then your mind's going to be focused on that. But if you're sitting down, you're more likely to be daydreaming than you are kneeling. So then be standing. Do something that is going to keep you focused on Jesus, but not going to hurt you, where you take your eyes off, but not going to make you lazy, or you daydream. So do something that also reading the Bible can help. Do something that the devil can't get to you, because the devil can't be really present, but the evils of sin can get to you. And what I've done once or twice is I've done adoration many times. One thing I kind of want to start doing in adoration is praying for one thing or a couple of sins. Praying for sins. The 7 deadly sins. So if I struggle with lust, which every man does, and every faithful man does usually, and I still do, to be humble, I struggle with lust. I think everybody does. Everybody in the religion, because that's the easiest way for the devil to get to us. Is struggling with lust. So pray about that. Pray about selfishness. Pray about envy. If you have a hard time being active, pray about sloth. Pray that you don't get those temptations or feelings. And just pray about the sins that are leaving you on your heart. Give those things to Jesus. I'm going back to interceding because I just thought of one thing. Don't intercede for other people, also intercede for the world. When you walk in adoration, you want to, most of the time, you don't want to, the whole time, you do not want to be worrying about worldly ideas. That's the point of the Bible, basically. The point of the New Testament, the point of the letters of John and Paul, is to kind of leave the flesh and focus on the Spirit. So don't worry about the worldly ideas. Don't worry about the bad things happening in the world, but to pray for those things. Pray that the world may find peace and justice in Christ, and that everybody may find the love in Christ at some point in their life. Very important for everybody to know that. Now another thing is, how often should you be going, or how often should we be going to adoration? So this is my first time, obviously I told you this already, first time this summer going to adoration. Obviously I know people who live closer to my parish than I do. I know 100% more people that live way close to the parish, or Lord's, or whatever. I 100% know that. So don't try to throw it off to the side. That's how the devil gets us. That's how the devil gets us to forget about sin. He wants us to forget about it. Because when we forget about it, when we forget about it, but what's happening, we forget about that we should go to penance or adoration. That's how the devil strikes us. That's how sin strikes us. Sin strikes us when we're not doing something holy. That's why we should always be proclaiming the justice and love of the Lord, proclaim the gospel. It is so easy today to actually bring up the gospel. Ask somebody what their favorite Bible verse is. Ask somebody what they've been struggling with, and then connect that to Jesus Christ. I was watching a video on Paul this week, on Tuesday, I believe it was Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday. Watching a video on Paul. No, it was Monday. It was Monday. Paul almost died so many times spreading the gospel, but he didn't stop because Jesus told him to keep on going. That's what we're supposed to be doing. I tell you this, I have not done that all times. I've preached the gospel, but not as much as almost being persecuted and thrown in jail. Now, one of the stories I kind of thought that was kind of funny is that earthquake happened, shook the bar doors open when he was in jail. Paul was in jail. Instead of leaving, one of the guards were really scared. So Paul comforted the guy with the gospel of the Jesus Christ, and he actually stayed in jail. And then the head of the prisoner said, "Okay, Paul, you can just go. You could have gone, your faithfulness to the church or to the prison, I'm not gonna let you go. So then that guard left his job and followed Paul. Paul got thrown in jail many times until he got beheaded in Rome. He got beheaded in Rome. Emperor Nero was the person who beheaded him because the Catholics, or the Christians, were kind of, it was the Catholics, yeah. The Catholics were kind of promoting the Bible too much for Nero to like, and the Judaism religion, since the Roman Empire took over Israel, they allowed them to still, have their synagogue and stuff. I know it's kind of off topic, but one thing I've been seeing recently on my For You page on TikTok especially is that, the end times are so close. Prepare your hearts, prepare your minds. The Father nor the Son knows the day or the hour. You hear that? I don't know the hour. They don't know the hour. Wait. Which one is this one? But it could be this one. It's this one. Yeah, I just have to be careful with the traffic, guys. I promised my dad that I won't get hit by the car. Wait. So, careful about that. But we're getting pretty close here. 16 minutes, you guys. 20 minutes biking down here. Has definitely not felt like that. It's been total fun. These podcasts are super duper fun to do. I've added this to my daily life now, almost. Think of a new podcast to do, or what I can do better in podcasts, or what I can talk about next. I want to focus. Next podcast, I want to do John. I got to do a summary of John. That's on my list. That'll probably be out next week. I also want to do, I think also a good series would be each individual deadly sin, the 7 deadly sins, each individual one, and what you can do to cancel that. Cancel that sin and kind of get rid of it from your life. That'd be a cool series. I think picking a chapter, actually no, because that's a bad idea. That's not a great idea. Yeah, but I'll have people probably bring it up to me, bring different ideas next time I do a 2-person podcast with somebody else. Since we're coming to the end of here, I'll just kind of talk for a little more. So if any of you guys are living close, or if any of you guys want to go to adoration together, and then maybe go around to Lourdes, go to the Lourdes, feel free to reach out to me. I would be so happy to go down to a thing like adoration, hang out with somebody I haven't seen in a while. Keegan O'Connor, Henry Sweech, anybody really. Anybody can reach out to me in the comments or online. I'd be so honored to have somebody come with me, because I feel like adoration is just more fun with somebody. I won't talk to them during adoration, but then you can go run the camp just around with the Lords, and I'll do a podcast with them. That's a beautiful monarch butterfly. Not those things. I think those things are extinct, or becoming extinct. They're endangered. We're going up the hill here, so I gotta get some strength here in my legs. Yeah, summer's been summer, It's been one of the better summers. But it's been quite a cloudy summer, too. I feel like there's been a lot of humidity. It's been really cloudy. Spat out my gum there. Alrighty. 2:25. That's my time. I thought I was gonna be here, like 2:20. My legs hurt. Okay, here we are. I'll kind of show you guys the church, and then I'll get in there. I won't film in there just for other people's privacy, obviously. Actually, you know what? I probably shouldn't block that. May not be a great idea. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So we're here at the church. St. Joseph Parish. Over by the Adoration Chapel right here. I'm gonna end off this podcast here. Thank you guys for joining me so much. This is my first pilgrimage, should probably be titled. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have any ideas for another podcast, upside down? Yeah, it is. Any ideas for another podcast, please reach out to me. I'd be so happy to do one of your favorite podcasts. So, I thank you guys for listening, and have a blessed rest of your day. God bless.